I'm on 3Flight's channel here, aka Mark, and he's been using Windows Live Movie Maker to make his movie productions and has purchased Magix Movie Edit Pro. He wanted a short tutorial on how to use the beginning features of Magix Movie Edit Pro, and so that's what I'm going to do. So let's launch Magix Movie Edit Pro 2013 Plus. Now let's give our project a name. We're going to create a new project. So let's just call it MEP Toot Test. Click OK. And you can see up here at the top we have the title that we just typed in and the file extension for the project. Now the first thing we're going to do is switch view modes before we drag our movie file in. Now there's 4 modes right here. One is storyboard, that's this one. Then we have scene overview, we have timeline mode, and multicam mode. The one I like to use all the time to edit my movies is the timeline mode right here. So we'll click on this one, and that brings up a nice little timeline view with separate tracks. Here's one track, another track, and the third track, and there's more down the bottom. You can scroll all the way down, all the way up to 32 tracks. Then we're going to drag our movie clip that we're going to be editing onto this timeline. I'm going to drag it in and then let go of the mouse button. It goes in. It says, in order to use MPEG-4, which is the type of file this is, I'm going to have to activate online. So if you haven't activated the codec, then you would do it now. Once you've activated your codec, the file should then load into the timeline. You can adjust the project resolution to match the video resolution by clicking Adjust. So now the movie is loaded on the timeline, we can begin editing. The first thing we're going to do, and this was requested by Mark, was he wanted to know how to delete sections. So say we only wanted a certain section of this movie. We can take the pointer here and click on the numbers here at the top and look at different areas of the video. Now I've got some house construction going on in the front, but towards the end there's a section with a squirrel. Now I'd like to just get this squirrel section by itself and not the house construction. So what I can do is place the pointer where it is right now, drag it around till I see the squirrel come up. Alright, let's get it a little bit before the squirrel. So I'm right there. Alright, now all I got to do is come up here and click this razor blade. Alright, now these two sections are separated. We got one section here and one section here. Now let's say we want a little bit of the beginning of the movie too. Like right here, there's a little time lapse of some fog coming in. So maybe I want a section of that. I'll just hit the razor blade again, and now we got this little section in the beginning and this little section at the end, and the section in the middle I can delete that. I can bring up this menu and do delete that way, delete objects, or I can just press the delete key on my computer keyboard and that deletes that section. Then I can just take the end section here and drag it up against the first section. So now the middle has been removed just by using this razor blade tool. And that's really all there is to deleting a section. It's that simple. But say you want it to be more fine in detail of where you're going to make this cut. You can come down here over in the right hand corner, lower right hand corner, and there's a diminished temporal selection. I just call it magnify. You just hit this plus key and you slowly magnify the section that pointer is on. Now that gives you more fine control over where you want to cut the movie. Now I can move along till I see the section where the squirrel start up. And you can see I've got a lot of control over where that is. There's the squirrel. And I can move it back and forth. And when I first see the squirrel right there, I can make another cut with a razor blade right here. Just like that. And now to get back to where the video fits the timeline, I can click this double arrow down here in the lower right hand corner. The double arrow squishes everything to fit the timeline window. And here's the little section that's left over. I'll just press the delete key on my keyboard again, remove it, and there you go. Now it's going to go from this video. It'll be playing along, and you'll see the time lapse of the weather, and then switch to the squirrel. So that's fairly simple to do. And just an added thing you can do if you want to, zoom in again using the plus key. You can take the movie and drag it as many seconds as you want. Say you only just want like 1 second or something like that. So I'll go from 22 down to 21. Overlap the second movie over the top of the other one. Now when you play it, you'll have a little transition or fade. See how that faded in? If you look at that monitor, I'll do it again. And it fades right in. That's just a little trick you can use. And if you don't want to continue with that, you can just drag the second movie away from the first one and the fade is gone. Now if I play it, it just snaps right to the second one. So that's a little trick you can use. Okay, next we're going to talk about how to control the volume of your movie. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. One way is you can bring up the mixer. So you go up here under Window and click Mixer, and that brings up this audio mixer control with a slider for each channel or each track. This is the track we're looking at right now. So if I play the movie, you can hear it's pretty loud, and I can bring the volume down with the slider. So it's just like a mixing console you might use for a music group. This is the master volume over here for the whole movie, for all the tracks, and these are the individual tracks. Okay? Now there's another way to do it, which is the way I usually do it because I'm too lazy to bring up the mixer. But there's an arrow right here that you can drag up and down to control the volume. So let's start her up. There is full volume. And there's with low volume. And then I can bring it back up to full volume. So that's all you need to do to control the volume. Now let me mention one more thing that you might be interested in, and that's you might want to view the audio waveform. Now the way you do this is you select the clip that you want to convert so you can see the audio waveform, and then you simply right click on that selection, go up to Audio Waveform Display on the menu, and click Create Waveform. Okay, so we'll do that first. You'll see across the bottom here it's processing the audio so it can create the waveform. And it'll just go across there, and then after it's done, you'll see the waveform right here. Now there's one more thing you can do. If you want the audio to show up on a separate track, like some programs have, you can go up again and go to Audio and Waveform Display and go to Video Audio on Separate Tracks. Now if you click that, you will see, and I'll magnify this a little bit, or actually I'm going to shrink it a little bit so it'll fit. There we go. I use this minus key over here. There's a minus and plus key to shrink and grow vertically. So now you can see the audio waveform on a separate track. So when we control the waveform, the volume, we can do it right here. And it's very clear then what's going on. So if we play it, and you can see the level. So that makes it very easy. One other thing, and that is, once you can see the waveform like this, it makes it easy to cut the video at a particular audio section. Say, well, let's say the squirrel makes a noise you don't like right about here, this loud noise right here. You can come down and then just take the razor blade here and clip that section out. And then delete it with the delete key. Meld them back together. And now that section's gone. Another thing you might use the audio waveform for is if you were trying to synchronize the audio in two different videos and you wanted to line those videos up in time, you might use the audio waveform to make sure they're lined up. So that's another handy thing that you can use it for. Okay, now I want to mention the undo and redo buttons. They're right here. Say I didn't really want to take that noise out and I decided the squirrel's noise was cute and I wanted that back. All I got to do is do the undo button until I get it back. And there it is. Now if I decided, wait a minute, I didn't really want that, of course I can use redo to put it back the way it was. So undo and redo, very handy. Now let's cover titles and captions. Now the first thing we need to do is pick the place in the movie where we want to put the title. Say right here, or we can see the squirrel. Come up and click the Title tab. Choose General, and I have a calligraphic selected here for calligraphy. The way you find that is you just scroll down through the writing menu and you'll find out where it is and you click on it and that's how you get it. And you can pick a size here. Let's make it say 40. So I got size with that slider. And after you get done with that, just come over here and click in the movie anywhere and it will come up with the title. Now you can change the title. And I could say close up, for example. Then if I hit the check mark right here, I can move close up wherever I want it to be. It's very simple. Now if I don't like the color, I can double click and just make sure it's highlighted. It should already be highlighted. Just go into, click this button over here where it says change text color. And say I wanted it to be white. Just click white, click OK, check it again, and now you got white. You can also change the size in the same manner. Just make sure it's highlighted. Say it was a little bit too big for you. Just bring it down like that. Check it again. Position it where you want it. And that's all there is to it. Now down here on the timeline you can see it made a title object right here. Now when you play it, it'll stay on the screen the length of time that the object is on the timeline. So if you do this, once it gets by it, it disappears. So if you want it to be up there longer, just touch the right edge where you see the double lines and drag it out, and then that makes it longer. So it'll stay on there longer. Now let's say we want to do a caption. Now a caption's different than the title. A caption is one of those things that flies in maybe at the beginning of the movie and tells you what it's all about. So if we want to do a caption, let's position the marker down here at the beginning and just grab one of the captions, drag it down to the timeline and let go. And there it is. You'll see 3 objects. The caption is made up of 3 objects, so don't let that bother you. Now just come up here and you can edit the caption. Let's say we want to make this Squirrel Movie. And it's going to be October 2012. Then just click the check mark, position it, probably right at anywhere where it already is good, and now we can test it. You'll see it fly in. Alright, there it flies in, and there's the title, or I mean caption, excuse me. And that's all. It's pretty simple. Now to make your videos really pop, you may want to use brightness, contrast, or hue, or even gamma to make some corrections to the video. That will give it a more professional look. So the first thing we need to do is highlight the section we want to correct. And put the pointer over it, like that. Now you can see this section is a little bit dark, so if we want to improve that, we can use those features. Let's go up to the Effects tab, go to Video Effects, Brightness Contrast. Now the first thing we can do is add more gamma. Gamma right away will make your video pop and make it look more professional. And then you can add a little contrast maybe if you want to sharpen it up. And brightness. And then when you get it the way you want it, just go up here and save your project. And you're done. Now let's discuss one more thing, and that's hue. Hue is under color. And there's basically an auto color here you can click on to automatically adjust the color, or you can use this wheel to basically pick the hue. The center hub of the wheel is the brightness control for that color. So if you move it out into the pink area here, your video becomes more pink, or over here it becomes more green. And you can swing it along 360 degrees, picking out colors that you would like to use. So that's basically how that works. Okay, now that we've got our movie completed, we need to export it so we can put it on YouTube. So let's go on up to, on the menu, click File, and then go down to Export Movie, and I'm going to use video as MPEG-4. I'm going to be exporting as an MPEG-4. I'll bring that up. Now I'm going to export it as 720 by 1280 resolution, and this is the frame rate here, which is fine with me. 16 by 9 is correct for my camera or whatever I'm going to be using. And you can hit the Advanced tab to see more stuff. It's got 44 kilohertz in there, or 44,100 hertz. It's got the MPEG-4. So everything's basically set up the way I want it already. Okay. I don't want to mention there are some, this is user defined what I've got here, but there are some settings that you can pick down here, like TV 720 by 480 and so forth. So you could probably pick it off here, like HD TV would work, 720 by 1280, and it would plug in the things for you. But I just punch them in myself. That's the way they look, and this is the summation of everything I got right here. And this is the name and where it's going. You might want to pay attention to that path so that you know where your movie is going to end up. Like I may not want to put it there, so I could go in and say put it like on my video drive. I'll just stick it right there. Alright, now I'm going to click OK. And you can see down here it says making video. So that's about it. I hope this is going to be helpful. I think these are all the things that a beginner needs to know to run this type of software. Anything else you want to know, just leave me a comment in the comment section, and I'll see if I can make another tutorial with the added items that people would like to see. Thank you for watching.